Hi and welcome to Moon Catching. I am Erica, and today we are going to talk about age-related infertility. Specifically, how you can have a biological age that is different than your chronological age. Of course, we understand chronological age, like that's how old you are. Like I am 30 something, 37. I think I'm 37. Um, but you can also have something that is called your biological age. How old does your body think you are? And your biological age is established or determined by something called your telomere length. So, I got to do it too. I got to break it down a little bit to the Bio 101, right? So, telomeres are basically repeating sequences of DNA of DNA codes, DNA pairs on the end of the readable, usable, functional DNA in the middle. So the telomeres are caps, protective end caps that are on your DNA. And there's something called telomerase, which is an enzyme that works specifically on maintaining the length of the telomeres. Ideally, you will have very active enzyme activity, right? Very high telomerase activity to maintain very long protective end caps of the telomeres. So the reason why we need those telomeres to be long is because every time your DNA splits itself and clones itself and divides and replicates, every time that happens, you inevitably lose up to 50 base pairs. They're called base pairs, 50 puzzle pieces on the ends of the protective ends of the DNA. So these repeating sequences are like crazy long, right? So 50 here and there isn't a problem, but there's a natural degradation as we get older. And of course, we know that it is totally normal and healthy that we age, but we want to age gracefully, and we certainly want to maintain the age of our biological age and our chronological age pretty close together. We don't want to be 30 with the womb health and the egg health of someone who's 42, right? Um, that's just not going to work for someone who's trying to get pregnant, right? So we want those two to stay pretty close together. Unfortunately, there are ways that the telomere lengths are being shortened quicker than what is natural and normal. And that is because of something called, basically external factors, right? Anything that affects our epigenetics, which is how our DNA is expressed, anything that is external that can affect our internal environment. And that can be something like nutrition, exercise, sleep, uh, whether you smoke, whether you drink, whether you use drugs, all these things are things that can increase what is called oxidative stress. And as the oxidative stress goes up, the basically the damage to the telomere and the telomerase activity goes up as well. So as it relates to fertility, research shows that women who undergo IVF, who at this point need to undergo IVF, their telomere length is shorter, meaning that they are biologically older than their chronological age. The shorter the telomere length, the older those cells are. So that means that there is definitely a correlation with the basically the length of the telomeres, the health of the DNA, and the health of, let's say, the woman's egg health or overall womb health, all these things that go into affecting a healthy pregnancy or the success of a healthy pregnancy. And of course, we know, 35 is that magic number, if we're going to call it magic number that there's a drastic decrease in your fertility and your chances of getting pregnant. They're creeping that number up to 37. Some research is showing that it's 37 now. So, okay, yay us. But that is because at 35, there is a drastic decrease in the length of those protective end caps, the length of the telomere. So basically, researchers have discovered that depending on where they look, the telomere can be shorter or longer, and it needs to be shorter or longer depending on the where we are in the body. So in some ways, in some parts of the body, you want long telomere length. In some parts of the body, you want shorter telomere length. So again, it just depends on where we're looking. For example, specifically during implantation, the lining of the uterus, the endometrial lining, you would want the telomere length to be shorter, meaning that yes, they are closer to being the cells there are closer to dying in some spots, because you want the wall, the cells of the wall of the uterus to degrade a little bit to give the embryo space and opportunity to implant itself. So if the endometrial lining is firm and strong and refusing to budge, there's no way for the embryo, the fertilized egg, to burrow and nestle and to create its own environment and to create its own cell structure and all those things as it burrows. But throughout the body, throughout reproductive organs and systems, again, there is a difference. So in PCOS, there's a difference in the telomere length of someone with PCOS versus not. Other things like the sac, sac that the egg grows in when it's developing, there is evidence that the length there is off too. Where else? The fallopian tubes may also have a difference in their telomere length. So all these spaces where issues can arise, in the whole reproductive tract, that can show that the length of the telomere is very important in determining success of pregnancy, success of fertility, success of ovulation. And let's not forget the male aspect of this too. So there is also a relationship in the telomere length of the sperm, in the sperm cells. So that can also affect the male factor in fertility. The conversation of age and fertility is not very new, which I guess is good, right? That means that there is someone out there doing the research, someone out there, investigating this. So the association with someone's lifestyle factors like exercise, their nutrition, their sleep, things like external factors that affect something called epigenetics, the way that our genes are expressed. All these things are definitely already established and proven that yes, there is a relationship. Specifically, as far as oxidative stress goes. So certainly the word stress, we understand that, but oxidative stress is on a cellular level, where the cells themselves are being stressed and damaged by the environment. They're always being bombarded with harmful things, so they are starting to, they can begin to degrade and cause inflammation, all these things that are not so productive when we are trying to support our fertility. So the oxidative stress piece has already been established, and the telomere length is an addition to that, because it is also along those same lines, that these cells are undergoing more oxidative stress, which reduces the protective telomerase activity that is what protects the end caps, the telomeres. And again, another interesting fact is that when we talk about oxidative stress, the counterpart of that is antioxidants. So antioxidants counteract oxidative stress. Antioxidants are protectant. And one research study that I've read showed that actually women who have a later maternal age, that means that they're older when they, start to have their children. Women who have later maternal age actually have better lengths of their telomeres overall, because when you are pregnant, your estrogen level, or specifically estradiol, which is one of the estrogens, your estradiol goes up, and estradiol is a really powerful antioxidant, which, we just said is which protects the telomeres, which protects against oxidative stress. So they haven't quite discovered why that is true, because you would think that if you're having your children later in life, that means maybe you have shorter telomere length, because maybe you were having fertility issues. But for whatever reason, they showed that women later in life who had their children later in life actually had a longer lifespan, because the estradiol went up while they were pregnant during this later phase of life, protecting the end caps, protecting their DNA from being damaged, protecting them from aging as quickly, and so they age slower overall. As they got older, they age slower overall. So it's some of it is counterintuitive, some of it they're still figuring out, but it's just all very interesting how something as simple as nutrition, exercise, sleep, whether you smoke or not, whether all these things can affect something on a very, very small, like minute DNA level, cellular level that we don't even think about when we're choosing to eat this or that, that all these choices and all these things are affecting our fertility. We can talk about exercising all day, we can talk about eating salads all day, and we most likely are thinking about the outward effect. Maybe we're going to lose weight, maybe our skin's going to look better, whatever. We're thinking of these outward things, forgetting that on such a small cellular level, all these important nuances and shifts are happening that can all play out and affect your fertility, specifically your age-related fertility. Not to be all doom and gloom, right? There is a way that we can protect our DNA. There's a way that we can protect our cell health. There's a way that we can protect and maintain the correlation between our biological age and our chronological age, so that women who are in their early 30s don't have the womb of someone who's in their 40s, and a way to protect our egg health, our ovarian reserve, to protect the lining of our uterus. All these things are very important in establishing ovulation, establishing implantation, fertilization, pregnancy, successful delivery. All these things are happening way back down the line, all the way down to the DNA level. So it is very important that we can maintain and support our DNA, our telomere length, with nutrition. That's what I'm always here talking about, right? But of course, integrative nutrition, I also talk about all the things: stress, sleep, exercise, water. All these things are very important for maintaining or fighting the oxidative stress to support our body when it's trying to fight off all these things that are damaging and shortening our telomere length. So eating your dark leafy greens, yes, it can be that simple, that eating, increasing your vitamins and your antioxidant vitamins, all these things, vitamin E, vitamin C, iron, zinc, all these things are very supportive for supportive antioxidants, right? So you hear me say it, eat the rainbow, right? That's where all these really powerful, they're called phytonutrients, plant nutrients, whatever. Phytonutrients are found, and antioxidants happen to be one of them. So supporting your diet with, a balance of the right number of servings of fruits and vegetables, it can really be that simple. It won't be the only thing that is affecting our fertility, right? It's not the only thing that affects our womb health, but nutrition is a really big cornerstone of one of the pieces, right? One of the pieces that plays into how successful our body is in maintaining and establishing pregnancy. That's all that I have. I'm sure I could talk more and more and more about telomeres and telomerase and DNA and all these things, but I do like to go over the biology of it all, just because this is something that we aren't taught. The average person doesn't know, and it's not so complicated that you can't understand. So let's just talk about it. Let's just figure out what's going on in our body, what's going on at a cellular level. We think about the surface so much, we forget that it all trickles down to these minute cellular reactions and interactions and all these things. So again, I hope you were able to get something out of this video, and that you have a better understanding of the impact of our body and our DNA, and why there is such a thing called age-related infertility. That there is a reason behind why 35 is that magic number. So thank you for watching, and if you like what you saw, please hit the like button, and if you want to join the community, join my circle, hit the subscribe button, and stick around and stay tuned for more videos like this and about other things about reproductive health and fertility. Thank you again, and see you next time.